All right, so last night I saw the new Doctor Strange movie, Multiverse of Madness, and I definitely have some thoughts. There's definitely going to be a lot of spoilers in this video, so if you're not into spoilers or if you haven't seen the movie, I would definitely either keep that in mind and continue watching or stop watching right now and find something better to watch. Might I suggest Some Ordinary Gamers? He's always making entertaining and intelligent content. But Anyway, the Marvel movies of late have been kind of hit or miss. I mean, everybody loves Spider-Man. I loved it because Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, man. I mean, come on, he's still my favorite. I mean, the first Spider-Man movie is still my favorite Spider-Man. I know that's kind of a hot take. Most people prefer the second one. I mean, maybe now since the No Way Home or whatever movie came out, they might be seeing the light. Now everybody's just gonna that the Green Goblin was a far more menacing villain than Doc Ock. Not that Doc Ock like wasn't cool, but I just mean like they in No Way Home treated him right. It treated him more as like a misguided dude who can become a hero, as opposed to like the irredeemable Norman Osborn who's become the Green Goblin, and will literally use being manipulated by this thing as a ruse to get to people. I mean, honestly, that was pretty gangster. I mean, that kind of reignited some of my faith in Marvel, but I don't know. I've never been like the hugest Marvel stan anyway. I've always been kind of critical of some of the movies. Like, I'm not going to get into it right now because this is a video about Doctor Strange, but moving on to that, I think that the movie started off really good. I mean, the movie's long. I think it was like 2 hours long, but I would say that it starts out a little like not slow. It starts you right in the action, but you kind of if you don't know what's going on with the multiverse, you might be a little confused. But most of that shit is covered in like Loki, and it was also covered in the new Spider-Man movie. So if you've seen either of those, you get the general idea of the multiverse. If you're any kind of familiar with Marvel comics, you're familiar with the multiverse. It's the infinite worlds where there's alternate versions of people and all these different types of wacky possibilities. But anyway, the movie starts off right off the bat with a Defenders version of Doctor Strange from the 2011 comic book run, escaping with America Chavez through the multiverse looking thing, trying to get to something called the Book of Ashanti. Now, from there, they almost make it, but they kind of get intercepted by this squid demon, and Doctor Strange ends up in a situation where he's like, well, I'm going to do the pragmatic thing and kill the girl, absorb her power, and continue through the multiverse to stop this demon, or escape the demon. But anyway, they don't get to do that. Defender Doctor Strange gets killed. The girl escapes through one of the portals she can create, because she can create portals through the multiverse, but she can't really control it. And she's been kind of running through the multiverse for her entire life. So, that we get into that later. But anyway, cut to Doctor Strange going to Rachel McAdams' wedding. AR from Boardwalk Empire is all butthurt that his cat got killed and his brother died or some shit like that. And blames Doctor Strange for it for some reason, because I guess Doctor Strange is the one who gave Thanos the Time Stone, but things were kind of a little more complicated than that, as most people know. Rachel McAdams' new husband is a big fan of Doctor Strange, so that kind of puts him in this weird-ass position. But before it can get awkward, he gets a chance to leave and escape and go save the world, because the Squid Demon is still chasing the girl now through the streets of his universe. So he goes out there, saves her with the help of Wong, and she tries to escape him a few times, but they end up taking her to like a Denny's where these people are trying to get selfies of Doctor Strange in the background, or footage of Doctor Strange, or I can't really remember, but it was kind of funny. But anyway, she explains to them that she's been running through the multiverse for her entire life, and whatever is pursuing her wants her power, wants to drain her of her power so it can do whatever it wants in the multiverse, wreak havoc, supposedly. Doctor Strange and Wong don't really believe her, so they ask her for proof. So she takes him to where Doctor Strange's multiversal defender's body ended up. I guess it got spit out of the portal too for whatever reason, but it's now on a rooftop in New York. So they take her to his body, and he's like, oh man, apparently I had a fucking ponytail in this other life. But they look at his corpse and they realize there's like runes burned into his skin. Runes are only used by witches like the ones we see in what is it called, WandaVision, Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff, all that. It's the witchcraft stuff. So Wong takes the girl, America Chavez, to Camertage, the Fortress of Mystical Arts where Doctor Strange learned magic. And Strange goes to find Wanda because he figures, oh, she knows a thing or two about witchcraft, and I never really saw her about the whole Westview thing. So he goes and finds her. She's in this like seemingly like this like field of trees that she planted supposedly. And she's like, oh, it's all real. I thought you were going to come see me about Westgate. None of this is magic. And then as soon as Doctor Strange says something about it, she's like, oh, yeah, I'll help you find America. And he's like, well, I never said her name. And she's like, ah, fuck. And she reveals that it's all an illusion, to the surprise of absolutely no one. And it all looks like fucking Kaled from goddamn Elden Ring, or even better reference, it looks like an Oblivion gate just opened nearby, and the fucking skies are turning red and everything, and all the trees are dead. And she's like, yeah, I have the Darkhold, which is basically like this evil book. It's the antithesis of the Book of Vishanti, which is supposed to be this magical book that can help the one girl like harness her power in the multiverse or something, how I understood it. They didn't really explain too much about the Book of Vishanti. It was the typical, plot device. They needed to get to it. And Wanda has this thing called the Darkhold, which allows her to be super powerful demon magic woman and turn into the Scarlet Witch, which is her like comic book title. She basically warns Strange, like, look, just give me the girl, and we don't have to have no conflict. I'll just fuck off. You'll never see me again. I want to go basically use the Darkhold to dreamwalk, which is this thing that allows her to glimpse into her multiversal self's past, like, or not past lives, but alternate lives, and basically kind of like possess one and then live in that body, and basically trapping the original consciousness in the back of the mind, like a possession, like the very standard procedure possession. And Doctor Strange is like, nah, you can't really do that because no one can use the Darkhold without it exacting a heavy toll, which we will hear many times throughout the movie. And that basically means, there's going to be a price paid for the use of this dark magic. And in Wanda's case, it appears to be her fucking sanity, because she's so obsessed with, reuniting with these kids that she created in WandaVision. And Doctor Strange is like, yo, bitch, those kids never fucking existed. They weren't real. You created them with magic at the cost of people's goddamn minds. And fucking this pretty much goes in one ear and out the other for Wanda, and she warns him again to bring her the girl, and he kind of fucks off back to Camertage, and he hides there with there's like this one Minotaur sorcerer who looks pretty cool. I thought that was kind of funny. I'm sure he's got some comic book counterpart who's like important or whatever, but I just thought it was funny that there's randomly a green Minotaur up in the mix. But they basically fortify the fortress, and we have like almost like a Helm's Deep style battle preparation, and then standoff when Wanda shows up and she starts shooting magic, and they all create this giant force field. I guess some people, I think I only saw the Harry Potter movies like once, but I think there's something like this in fucking Harry Potter too. Either way, I think it looked a little bit better here, and I'm no fucking Marvel stan. I think a lot of the visuals in this movie looked fucking amazing. But moving on, that she tries to get through this, and then she can't really punch through the hole, so she starts getting into people's heads and turns off the shield that way, gets in and pretty much annihilates all of the fucking sorcerers. Like, pretty much kills them like fucking Daenerys at the end of Game of Thrones season 8. Like, she just goes bah, bah, bah. She's just walking around executing these motherfuckers. Like, I was like, that is pretty fucking nuts. Sam Raimi ain't holding nothing back. But Strange manages to escape, and Wong gets captured, but not before one of his little disciples manages to destroy the Darkhold. And one of the sickest visual things I've seen in a Marvel movie, she pretty much like fucking like savagely disintegrates violently after destroying the Darkhold with this like little ritual dagger thing. And Wanda basically is like, all right, well, I'll just use Wong to take me to where the spells from the Darkhold were written from. So they fuck off and go do that, and they find this shrine to Wanda, basically, that was supposed to be like awaiting her to eventually show up. And there's these 4 big ass ogre looking demons that look like something out of Dragon Age Origins. These things basically like pledge allegiance to her, while she just starts creating like this seance-like thing to use her Drambok to fucking infiltrate the mind of her alternate self, and a different universe, an interesting universe where the Doctor Strange is dead, and basically puppet that version of her body to pretend to be a parent to the kids that she actually has and actually exists in this universe. Which is pretty fucking fucked up. I mean, I imagine most parents, I'm not a fucking parent, so I wouldn't know, but most parents would be like, oh, well, I would probably do this. As a parent, I would probably do. I'm not hating on parents. I just think it's kind of funny how they always use that justification when there's literally zero qualification to becoming a parent. Like, even horrible people, and, I hate to say it, but more often than not, horrible people do become parents. So it's just always kind of funny when people use that distinction to justify their actions. But Anyway, mainline Strange and America Chavez, meanwhile, have escaped and wind up, and they go through this super crazy sequence of different universes before they end up in I believe, the same world that fucking Wanda ended up in with where she had kids, but I can't really remember for sure if it was or if it was just another one, but I'm pretty sure it was. Anyway, food's apparently free in this world, and it's apparently free in most universes, just not the one we live in, which I thought was a nice little joke from that rich people like to make. So this new world they're at is sort of like this overgrown, futuristic-looking society where red means fucking go and green means stop. Everything's kind of opposite. And in this world, the Doctor Strange is dead. Supposedly, he gave his life to end Thanos' fucking threat to destroy Thanos or whatever the fuck. But it's a little more complicated than that, as we will find out as well. And he runs into who else but fucking Mordo, who he has this huge beef with back in his world, but apparently not in this one, or so we think. He gives them uses the Sands of Mysteria to basically incapacitate America and Doctor Strange, and they put him in these glass fucking containment units, and they're studied by this universe's version of Rachel McAdams. An interesting thing about this multiverse is it appears the Ultron system or whatever was somewhat successful in creating its copies of itself to create world peace in some kind of way, because there's all these like Ultron like androids running around that we don't really ever see elaborated on, but I thought was interesting. They're sort of like the security of this universe that Strange just kind of found himself in. Everybody thought they were going to see Tom Cruise playing Cosmic, or not Cosmic, but Superior Iron Man, and I honestly kind of thought it was coming too. And then when I saw the Ultron robots, I was like, oh, James Spader's Ultron will show up. I mean, his performance as Ultron is one of the redeeming parts of that movie, in my opinion. There's a lot of things I don't like about Age of Ultron, but the performance of Ultron, the actor who did him, is not one of them. Anyway, this version's Rachel McAdams is kind of cold to Doctor Strange, and he's like, what were we in this world? And she's like, we never figured it out. And he's like, yeah, I can relate to that. And she tells him that we're going to go see this version of the leading superheroes of this world, which is the Illuminati, which I thought was funny. Most people will think of the Illuminati as the New World Order, the super conspiracy that everybody fucking knows and isn't really that secret anymore. And it's sort of just a running joke at this point. But in the Marvel comic books, they're sort of like the actual hierarchy of the most powerful superheroes known to man. And they kind of watch and observe everything from behind the scenes. And they're super, super secretive and super powerful. But I'm not even going to spoil nothing. They get made into a fucking joke in this show. And this movie, it's honestly fucking hilarious. Anyway, though, so they bring Doctor Strange to the Illuminati. Mordo is one of the members, of course. And the other members consist of, I don't know which version of Captain Marvel, but an alternate version of Captain Marvel and an alternate version of, I think, Peggy Carter or some shit like that. Honestly, I can't remember. It's like Captain Britain, though. She's got like a jetpack and shit. And who else? Black Bolt, played by Hell on Wheels' own Anson Mount, who's, I think he played Black Bolt in the Inhumans show that nobody watched. But he's a good actor. He keeps getting screwed by fucking shitty roles, but I thought he was great in Hell on Wheels, and it was funny to see him here. And who else was on the cast? Oh, yeah, fucking goddamn Reed Richards. Jim from The Office is playing Reed Richards, and it looks exactly like all the fan edits I was seeing for the past couple years. It looks literally like, I almost thought I was like, am I watching like a fan edit all of a sudden? But no, I was really in the theaters, and that's really how he looked. And, of course, the one everybody knew was coming was Professor Charles Xavier, who we thought we saw for the last time in the Logan movie, where he got his second unceremonious end, for his first unceremonious end having come in the very maligned X-Men The Last Stand, where he was literally obliterated by Jean Grey. And his second death, where he was savagely murdered by the copy of Wolverine in Logan, which was pretty fucked, honestly. He thought Wolverine murdered him. All I remember from that movie is that it's got water. But anyway, these guys show up, and they basically explain to him what happened to this version of Stephen Strange, and he wasn't the hero that stopped the world from, saved the world from Thanos. No, on the contrary, he actually destroyed an entire fucking universe within the multiverse when it came to stop Thanos, and he was looking for a way to stop him, and in the process, he went through the Darkhold and began dreamwalking a whole lot, and in the process, he annihilated one of his whole alternate selves and the universe it resided in the process. So he did end up helping them kill Thanos, but afterwards they're like, all right, well, you have to die too. It's too dangerous to leave you alive. And that's this whole recurring fucking thing in this goddamn movie, is something that's too dangerous to be left alive, so it has to be killed. We see it with America Chavez in the beginning when Defender Strange decides to kill her instead of try harder to save her. We see it fucking here with the previous Strange, where, oh yeah, he made a mistake, so he now has to fucking die. They have to fucking have Black Bolt fucking sonically obliterate him. And basically they're going to do the same thing to this version of Strange, but instead Wanda shows up because she's still looking for the girl, because she still needs the power to fully become her alternate body's self. Right now she's just possessing it. She needs to completely fucking own it. And all the this version's, I mean, obviously this universe's version of the Avengers is the Illuminati, and they go out there to stop her, and fucking one by one are hilariously fucking, dispatched. First off, Black Bolt, fucking, she removes his mouth and causes his fucking brain to explode, which is pretty goddamn hilarious when you think about it. It's a little frustrating, I guess, if you're a Black Bolt fan. I'm sure there's some out there, but it was pretty fucking hilarious. I'm an Anson Mount fan, and it kind of bummed me out, but fucking damn. And then she turns Jim from The Office into fucking goddamn confetti. And, here's one of the parts that irritated me in the movie. She takes out the two more powerful ones, and then she fights the two. Well, I guess, Captain Marvel is extremely powerful, so I guess that doesn't matter. But, goddamn, the Captain Britain puts up too good of a fight. It's irritating. It's like in Infinity War when Vision and Scarlet Witch get jumped by Thanos' nameless henchmen. And they're two of the most powerful Avengers. We just hadn't seen it yet. Like, they hadn't shown it in the MCU. And they get almost fucking killed and defeated, and they have to be saved by a group of not even superpowered people. Like, I guess Steve Rogers is superpowered, but it's Steve Rogers, fucking Black Widow, and Falcon save Wanda and Vision. That scene always fucking irritated me. So I don't know, something about it just didn't make... I know, I guess even the most powerful people can get caught off guard, but still, it was just goofy. And how long Peggy Carter, or whatever her name is, lasts against fucking Wanda is a little ridiculous when we just saw what happened to fucking Jim and Black Bolt. But I guess she used their powers to pretty much just destroy them. So, I mean, you could argue it either way. Anyway, though, after they all get fucking killed, she kills all of them. Professor Xavier shows up to kind of slow her down, and we think, oh, Xavier's going to use his fucking mind power. He even uses the meme. There's literally the meme where he puts his fingers to his head and the little circle sonic waves come. And he goes in her head. He finds Wanda's, this universe's Wanda, who's trapped in the back of evil Wanda's mind. And before he can free her, Professor Xavier gets his third unceremonious death, and he gets his neck snapped by Wanda. Now, that is just ridiculous. I mean, I get Patrick Stewart coming back because I'm happy always to see him play Professor Xavier. He's one of the god-tier casts of the early 2000s. But, my God, 3 fucking unceremonious deaths in a row? Like, seriously? Like, man. Anyway, he did manage to buy Strange and Rachel McAdams and America Chavez enough time to escape, because when Wanda's done dispatching all of them, she looks over and they're gone. They end up having to solve this one like riddle, but it's actually solved by Strange's broken watch when he puts it in the slot to get to the secret area where this universe's Strange had sealed away the Book of Ashanti. So when they get there, though, Maximoff shows up and she fires a bolt at Strange, and in the process destroys the Book of Ashanti. Wanda then pretty much like possesses America Chavez and uses her to create a portal. I guess because, since Wanda's puppeting her, she just knows exactly how to use this girl's powers. But she creates a portal and sends Rachel McAdams and Doctor Strange through it, where they end up at this fucking cool looking world. Honestly, it's a world that's like, I guess an incursion happened, or it's destroyed, it's collapsed in on itself, but it looks really cool. Again, I'll say it again, the visuals are like some of the fucking best parts of this movie. The worst parts of this movie, though, would probably be Wanda's fucking whole thing with her kids. Again, if you're a parent, maybe this will mean more to you. I'm not trying to hate on any of it. I just felt like it really bogged the movie down. Anyway, though, they're in this ruined ass world that's like fucking, there's like pieces of like fucking buildings floating through the sky and everything's all super foggy. And they're like, all right, well, we got to find this universe's Strange, I guess, because that's the only way we're going to be able to get out of here. Now, this universe is strange. Looks like he spent a lot of time listening to Marilyn Manson. But anyway, he kind of has been corrupted by the Darkhold because he just decided to become the keeper of it at some point to prevent other people from using it. At least that's what my takeaway from it is, that he didn't trust nobody else to watch over it. And he took it upon himself, and over time it corrupted him, which is sort of like Denethor from the Lord of the Rings books. I mean, various things have had stuff like this happen where it corrupted them over time. This Strange also sports a third eye, which in my opinion looks really fucking cool, but also kind of weird at the same time, which I guess is the intent. But it's, I guess, a sign of having basically, basically a sign of the toll exacted by using the Darkhold. And these two Stranges fight for a bit, but first, before they fight, it's kind of hilarious because this Strange reveals himself to hate himself and be a bit of a psycho. I guess we kind of knew that, though. He's basically been using the dream walking thing to potentially kill like every other multiverse Strange. Like he's like, you ever had that feeling where it feels like you're falling? Oh yeah, well that's me. And ironically enough, when good Strange defeats evil Strange, he pushes him out the fucking building and he gets impaled by a spike. Then Rachel McAdams comes in, and they decide that it's best for Doctor Strange to dreamwalk. And this Rachel McAdams is like, really? All you fucking strangers are the same. You want to dreamwalk already? But he's like, it's the only way, you know? So they start dreamwalking, and she's like, well, you need a living body to possess to get to, you know, and you're that world Strange, so who are you going to possess? But then he remembers, oh yeah, there's this body of me, of a ponytailed me that we buried on a rooftop in New York, or wherever the fuck it was at. So he basically fucking uses some cool-ass necromancy shit and basically possesses his dead body using necromancy. But it's not without a fucking fight, because there's all these like dark spirits trying to fucking fight him, and he has to basically overcome them. And then he like bounds them to him and uses them as like wings, uses all these fucking dark spirits as wings to like fly to fucking where Wanda Maximoff has Wong captive and is basically trying to extract America Chavez's power. I think the visual effects on all this necromancy shit are extremely top notch. And I feel like I can be unfairly critical on CGI at times, but I just really like seeing all this necromancy shit being done in live action and looking really good, because it just looked really cool. And the effects they use for this zombie Doctor Strange, where he's like twitching, his twitch movements, his like chattering, it looked really cool. Very reminiscent of like old school horror movies, and of course reminiscent of Raimi's previous work, like fucking Evil Dead and various stuff. Like there's this scene where Doctor Strange traps Wanda in the mirror realm and she escapes, but when she escapes she comes out of it like the fucking exorcism, like fucking, and then at the end when she's having slaughtered all the Illuminati and killing all these people in that alternate world, she looks very much like The Ring. So there's a lot of reminiscent stuff from old school kind of horror movies. Not really that old school, but there is some, and I thought that was a nice little homages like that. But anyway, Zombie Strange gets there and Wong helps him. They overpower Wanda long enough for America Chavez to open a portal to show Wanda what she's done to the other version of her. And basically the kids see what a monster this version of Wanda is, and it basically breaks her, and she finally realizes, oh, I guess I am a monster. I guess, you know, after killing fuckloads of people, like I swear to God at this point, like the only reason Thanos had killed more people is because he snapped. Like we don't actually see Thanos on screen killing fuckloads of people the way we see Wanda killing. And that's, again, Wanda has always been this powerful. She's always been capable of doing this. But like, where was all this when the fight with Thanos was necessary? Like, why did Vision have to just run away? Why didn't she just come in and start fucking Thanos up with some? I guess because she didn't have the Darkhold. I don't know. I'm sure there's some Marvel people who could explain to me in depth why, but definitely seemed a little off. Anyway, though, she realizes the error of her ways and decides, oh, I gotta collapse this fucking fortress on myself. And I guess she seemingly dies. But I don't really know how her magic works. Like, if she's not actively defending herself, she can die. But all the other times, she's just consciously defending herself from getting killed when she takes damage. I don't know. You never know how, it's never explained how these things work. But there's also a really cool fight between Necromancer, Zombie Strange, and Wanda. Wanda's using demon magic, and Strange is using necromancy, and it looks really badass. And the demons, or not the demon spirits, but the spirits of the damned that Strange is using, they kind of like overwhelm Wanda for a minute and fucking freak her out. And I thought that was really nicely done. But she brings the fortress down on herself, and fucking, all is well. Camertage gets rebuilt. Fucking everybody's kind of happy. And Strange finally fixes that broken watch. But while he's walking away, he feels like, I guess, seemingly intense pain and drops to his knees, and boom, the third eye sprouts from his head from having used the Darkhold, which I think is a nice touch. I mean, because there's no more Darkholds across any galaxy because they were all destroyed at some point in the movie, which I guess I missed. I guess I'm not the king of the reviews yet, but I don't remember exactly where all the Darkholds got destroyed. I guess maybe I think when Wanda brought the fortress down, it destroyed the Darkhold across all of the multiverse realms. But basically, he's got the last bit of the Darkhold in himself, and at the end, Charlize Theron shows up, looking like kind of like Hela. I guess she's like this character, I guess, from the comic books, who's like a lover of Doctor Strange's, and she's like, "Oh, you gotta answer for your crimes because you caused an incursion." Now she's not. I don't think she's referring to the Multiverse of Madness. I mean, not the Multiverse of Madness, the Spider-Man movie that came before it. I guess that's all well and good because they contained that, but this one wasn't, and it's his fault. So whenever we see Strange again, that's what he'll be dealing with. And the last post-credit scene, I believe, is fucking Bruce Campbell being free of his hold from Strange that Strange put on him, which supposedly lasted several weeks. Now, I thought that the movie overall was pretty fucking good. Like, I loved the visuals. I loved a lot of the stuff that happened. I liked how they pieced up that group of the Illuminati. Like, I have a problem with Charles Xavier dying an unceremonious death again because they just can't help but give him unceremonious deaths. Like, it's happened fucking 3 times. And he got resurrected off screen. The X-Men franchise was weird. If you haven't seen it, it was weird. But the movie wasn't without its problems. I would say most of the stuff with Wanda and the family and her whole motivations kind of just fell flat on me. Again, it's just like a classic situation where the Marvel villain just didn't vibe with me. Like Killmonger, I didn't really like Killmonger either. His kind of goals didn't really make that much sense to me. Like, he seemed kind of like a bad villain. Like, not like a relatable villain in any way. And I guess not all villains should be relatable, but at least Thanos was portrayed in a way where he, at least you could make a case, you could understand where he was coming from for him. You obviously know what he wants is wrong, but you could tell he really believes this shit. And I guess you could say the same for Wanda, but just her reasonings felt a lot more selfish overall. Like, because at least Thanos believed he was helping the world. I mean, it was a lot of his ego probably had something to do with it, but I don't know. Marvel villains are always extremely hit and miss. Speaking of ego, I thought Ego was pretty good, but I'm like a pretty big fan of the Guardians movies. They were like the ones that kind of sold me on the MCU. Like, I liked Iron Man, but I wasn't sold on the MCU until I saw Guardians. I think, honestly, I was late to the whole MCU thing. I think it was Guardians 2, actually, that I saw first. And then I was like, oh, okay, I guess I can get behind this MCU shit. But, goddamn, I didn't realize I was talking this long, 27 fucking minutes. But, if I had to give the movie, like, a review, like a number, I would say definitely, like, 7, maybe 7.3 to 5, somewhere in that fucking ballpark. Because, like, a lot of the visual shit was dope. But a lot of things, like, not a lot of things, but I had a problem with, I just didn't care about Wanda's motivations. Strangest stuff with Rachel McAdams, at first I kind of didn't like because I was like, well, what's the point of this? Like, I thought he was over her. But then you realize, like, oh, some time has passed, and he's kind of looking at it like, oh, what if I did things differently? Like, what if I wasn't so goddamn, like, self-obsessed? What if I did, give her a chance? Then would I have been happy? Who knows? Those are real thoughts that real people have, and I felt like that was okay. I can get behind that. The action was cool. I mean, most of it was like your stock MCU stuff. I think one of the things that stood out, though, was when the two strangest battle with music notes. They used magic to control music. I thought that was, like, maybe that won't be for some people. Some people will be like, oh, I guess that's cool. But I thought that honestly looked visually fucking cool in the theaters and how it sounded and the rumbling. I thought that was done really well. Honestly, I think I would give the movie like a 7.7 now, I'm saying, because I liked that scene and the scene with the dark spirits from using the dream walking, all that stuff. That was the bread and butter of the movie for me, and the design of the interdimensional demon at the beginning with the eyeball. It looked really cool. I thought that was really cool. The CGI looked good, all except for one part where it's like a down shot on a. It's like the camera's looking up at America Chavez from the ground, and it, like, how the scene transitioned, the CGI just looked really noticeably CGI, And that was like the only time in the movie it stood out to me. I thought all the Stranges were cool. The Defender Strange looked sick. He had a ponytail. Like I said, Marilyn Manson Strange was cool. We only see the war criminal Strange once, and he just looks like regular ass Benedict Cumberbatch. But yeah, no, I thought honestly the cast was really well done. I felt like, obviously America Chavez was the stereotypical character where it's just this quirky new kid character that, is taking our hero on for a ride, which we've seen in like stuff like Indiana Jones and all kinds of stuff like that. So I honestly, it was a pretty good movie. I thought Sam Raimi outdid himself. Honestly, I was expecting to see Moon Knight or maybe Spider-Man or something, but that's kind of like in the back of my mind. I was expecting that. I thought maybe the after credit scene would feature Moon Knight or would tie in with Moon Knight in some way, but it didn't, and there's no big deal there. But I think I've talked long enough about this movie. I think that 7.7 is my review of it. I thought it was dope. As far as Marvel movies, I put it right there with the last Spider-Man that came out. Those were both great. My favorite of the MCU would probably still be Guardians 2, but I know a lot of people are going to be like, really? I don't, I really like that. That was like the thing that introduced me to the MCU, so maybe that's why. But without further ado, I'm going to let you guys go. I hope you found this somewhat enjoyable. If you didn't, I understand. Please dislike if you didn't. If you liked it, though, please like and subscribe. I have a Elden Ring video coming out later today or possibly tomorrow. It's just been busy these past 2 days. But you guys have a good one. I'll see you next time.